Hello everyone, my name is Shreya Shivakumar and I'm a Girl Scout ambassador from Troop 81617 of the Girl Scouts of Central and Southern New Jersey. My Gold Award project is titled Allergies for Kids, and its purpose is to educate elementary and middle school students about food allergies. I was motivated to take on this project by my work leading Nourish America, a nonprofit organization which provides allergy-friendly food to families in need. This presentation, learning activities, and recorded webinars will be available for your viewing on www.allergiesforkids.com. So please visit the website to learn more after this webinar has concluded. Once again, thank you all for being here, and let's get started. We've all heard of allergies, but what is the formal definition of an allergy? An allergy is a medical condition where the body's immune system reacts to things called allergens that are typically harmless to most people. People can be allergic to pollen, insects, pet fur, and certain foods. Over 50 million Americans have at least one diagnosed allergy. This is the first of several group discussions that we will have during this presentation. If you're viewing this presentation in a recorded format, this is where you will talk about the attendees' experiences with food allergies in their lives. Do you, a friend, or a family member have a food allergy? How do they deal with their allergy or allergies? The rate of food allergies in children has doubled in the past decades. Today, 1 in 13 American children has at least one diagnosed food allergy. Chances are, more than a few of your classmates and friends have a food allergy. Some children also grow out of food allergies as they age. So the purpose of the immune system is to fight bacteria or germs to keep you from getting sick. For some people, their immune system will make a mistake and think that a food is an invader. This is when a food allergy is created. Chances are you know of someone who is lactose intolerant. You might see them eating ice cream or pizza. Although they will feel slightly sick after eating a food with dairy, eating dairy will not hurt them in the long term, and they can take medicines such as Lactaid to avoid these negative side effects. On the other hand, if someone who has a dairy allergy eats dairy, they could get an allergic reaction and potentially be seriously hurt. So a person with a dairy allergy should never attempt to eat food with dairy in it. So this is a question to pose to attendees. Do you know someone who has a food intolerance? If so, what happens when they eat the food that they are intolerant to? After this discussion has concluded, you may proceed to quiz 1. An allergic reaction happens when someone eats a food that they're allergic to. And if someone is having an allergic reaction, they need to get help fast. Some symptoms of allergic reactions include itchy mouth, difficulty breathing, rashes and hives on the skin, and a tightness in the throat. Some people can even get an allergic reaction by only being exposed to their allergen. These are just typical symptoms of allergic reaction. Symptoms will vary from person to person. So if you or your friend is having an allergic reaction, you should tell a parent, teacher, or trusted adult immediately. And if no one is around, call 911. These foods are called the 8 big food allergens. There are other food allergens, but about 90% of food allergy reactions occur to one of these 8 allergens. They are peanut, egg, milk, wheat, or gluten, the protein found in wheat, soybean, tree nut, fish, and shellfish. Celiac disease is an allergy to gluten, the protein found in wheat. People who have celiac cannot eat wheat or wheat-containing food products. What to do when you or someone you know has a food allergy. People with allergies need to avoid their problem foods because eating even a small amount can cause an allergic reaction and seriously hurt them. You might have seen signs in your school that read nut-free classroom or nut-free table like the one shown here. This means that nuts or foods containing nuts are not allowed within that area to protect students who have food allergies. If you see signs like these, you should refrain from bringing lunches and snacks with nuts in them or the specified allergens to keep your classmates safe. Now we will go to the Learning Checkpoint Quiz 2 to review what we learned.
A simple peanut or a bite of a shrimp can cause the body's immune system to wildly overreact. In some cases, the results can be deadly. But what exactly is happening in the body for it to confuse nuts or shellfish with a true threat? By definition, a reaction to a food is only considered an actual allergy if the immune system is involved, and if the response is caused by immune cells called IgE antibodies, which we'll get more into later. But it's important to distinguish an allergy from a sensitivity or an intolerance, which involve uncomfortable symptoms as a reaction to food, but don't cause an immune response. So if you're lactose intolerant,
you're not allergic to milk. Hi, my name is Tina Cinder. I'm a clinical assistant professor in allergy and immunology at Stanford University, and I see patients in my allergy clinic with eczema, with asthma, with food allergy, with environmental allergies, and my main focus actually lies in food allergy research.
In order to understand food allergies, we need to know how the body evaluates food in the first place. In a typical immune system, your body is constantly evaluating different antigens to deem them either benign or dangerous. In this case, the proteins on food particles.
When they eat a peanut for the first time, their body kind of tells their immune system, like, look at this is a peanut, do not fight this in the future. So then every time they eat a peanut, their immune system does not react to it at all.
The immune system is basically building up a tolerance for the next time peanuts are around. But in the allergy afflicted, by the time they eat something like a peanut, their body is already primed for an immune response.
Our immune system is kind of like a seesaw. It needs balance. So on one side of the seesaw is your T regulatory cells, and they're kind of your brakes. They're the cells that tell your immune system, calm down, slow down, do not fight this. And then the Th2 is your allergic cells, and they are ready to go and revved up, and they will bring in all other inflammatory cells to fight what they perceive as danger.
In most people, the T regulatory cells hold more weight in determining what's problematic and what's harmless. But in people with a more Th2 skewed system, their cells sound the alarm much more easily and have a high sensitivity to the harmless proteins on foods, most commonly milk, eggs, wheat, soy, peanuts, tree nuts, fish, or shellfish. But having a skewed immune system isn't enough. There has to be a trigger point to developing a specific allergy, and that's still not completely known. One of the proposed thoughts on how allergy begins has to do with the allergen entering the body the wrong way, through the skin. Minuscule food particles floating in the air can enter the body through the skin if there's dysfunction in the skin barrier due to something like eczema.
We're talking about nanoparticles of peanuts. So it can be in your bedding, it can be in the air. You might be getting exposed to it without any knowledge of it. It's that it's interacting with our immune system in a way that it's not meant to. We are not supposed to get food allergens coming through our skin or environmental. So really the initial process is the barrier breakdown that we're seeing.
So in some people, when immune cells in the skin encounter these antigens, they recognize that they are foreign and in the wrong place. This ultimately signals the immune system to produce antibodies called immunoglobulin E or IgEs to fight against the food proteins. Now, when this same food is finally ingested the right way through the mouth, the body's IgEs will recognize it as a threat and respond in full force, leading to an allergic reaction.
And the way this looks is basically when your mast cells and basophils open up, they contain histamine, ACE, and a bunch of other inflammatory mediators, and those are what drives the reactions.
This inflammatory response mirrors the body's reaction to a parasitic infection, but skin exposure is not dangerous for those with food allergy already.
our body shouldn't be responding like that, right, to food. And that's what we're hoping to figure out. And that's what we're hoping to prevent. We know that our immune system has developed this kind of response, but we don't know the why.
There is a genetic component to who has allergies and who doesn't. Children whose parents have allergies are more likely to have allergies themselves. But there are other environmental factors at play that mess with the balance of the seesaw of an individual's immune system.
So it's not one thing, it's multifactorial, and it's our diet, it's our lifestyle, it's modern conveniences that may push us kind of over the edge for some. Not all, but some.
The thing is, we might just be too clean. This is what's known as the hygiene hypothesis, which says that a lack of exposure to germs early in life can trigger the immune system to mistake a food protein as an invading germ. So for fewer allergies, maybe
Get a dog, roll around in dirt, don't wash your clothes, and play in the sun.
Epinephrine is a life-saving drug that treats serious allergic reactions. Epinephrine is packaged in an auto-injector form called the EpiPen. The EpiPen has a blue top and orange bottom. The rule of administering an EpiPen to someone who is having an allergic reaction is blue to the sky, orange to the thigh.
They're available by prescription. This is actually the original branded EpiPen. It's this shape. It comes in this container. And then recently a generic EpiPen was released to the market because it's less expensive than the branded. They have the same medicine inside, but this comes in a different shape container. Let's start with the branded EpiPen, which has been on the market for a while, maybe more familiar, and show you how to use it. So the branded EpiPen comes in a clear plastic case. And the first thing you need to do in order to use it is remove it from the plastic case. You'll see that it has a blue safety shield on the top. The most important thing you need to do before you actually administer the EpiPen is remove this blue safety shield. If you don't, the needle, which is in here, will not come out and inject epinephrine into the person who is potentially going into anaphylaxis. A lot of times people in the panic, they take the pen out of the case, they take the pen and they go to use it. But if they haven't taken this off, no medicine comes out. So it's really important to take this out. It just pops out. And then you know your EpiPen is, as they would say, live. So not everybody knows where to inject the EpiPen, and the best place for it to go is in the outer thigh. If you're working with somebody who's having trouble breathing or choking or is in a panic, lie them down flat, get to their outer thigh. You're going to want to inject it right into the muscle of the thigh. So it's going to take a very hard kind of plunge to penetrate a person's muscle. It's not like a little pinprick. Typically, people in need of an EpiPen are dressed, and sometimes the clothes are thick, like jeans, are thicker than, let's say, tights, which I'm wearing. So that means you just have to go in even harder. You have to get through the material, through the skin, and into the muscle. You're not going to see the medicine coming out of the needle. In fact, you're not even going to see the needle at all, because the needle is going to be embedded underneath somebody's skin. So don't expect to see anything squirting. Don't look for the needle. You're not going to see it until you take it out and you're done administering the epinephrine and you call 911. Just when you figured out how to use the traditional branded EpiPen, along comes the generic EpiPen, which is tremendous because it is less expensive than the branded EpiPen, but it's actually administered slightly differently. So the first thing you'll notice is it's not in a clear case. It's in an opaque case, usually yellow and black. You don't see what you're removing because the actual apparatus is completely covered by the case. So you actually are twisting off the top of the case and removing it from the bottom of the case. Now this looks more like a typical injection mechanism, right? This you can recognize as a shot. But even here, you have two ends that you need to make sure are safely removed before you administer the EpiPen. If you do one and not the other, it won't work. And it can be confusing when you're teaching people how to administer an EpiPen in case of emergency, because the branded one works one way, the generic one works another way. So you want to make sure you're clear about what you have and how to use it. With the generic EpiPen, you're pulling off the edges, the top end here, and you're pulling out the bottom here. You'll see a red warning sign here, and it's telling you that you're about to make your needle live. So you pull this off hard, it snaps. There'll be a red marker saying that this is the needle end. You get rid of your protective caps, you hold it firm, and you jam it into the outer thigh of whoever is suffering an allergic reaction.
If you're interested in a career in medicine that involves helping people with food allergies, you should look into becoming an allergist or immunologist. Allergists are doctors who can prescribe epinephrine, a medicine that saves lives during an allergic reaction. They can also determine if you're allergic to something through an allergy scratch test, like the one shown here. So cross-contact or cross-contamination is when an allergen is transferred from food containing the allergen to food not containing the allergen. This can happen in restaurants or kitchens when the same cooking utensil is used to cook a food with the allergen and other foods that don't have the allergen. So here's a scenario. Sally has trail mix for a snack. She wants to give her friend Robert an M&M from the trail mix, but Robert has a peanut allergy. Sally thinks it's okay because M&Ms don't have peanuts in them. She even checked the ingredients list. Is this cross-contact? Should she give Robert the M&M? Explain why. What is cross-contamination? Also known as cross-contact, it's when a normally safe food comes in contact with an unsafe food. It can happen when food touches another food, surface, or utensil. Help Susie stay safe by marking which is an example of cross-contamination. Her food allergies are peanuts, tree nuts, wheat, milk, and seafood. At lunchtime, Susie's classmate accidentally spills milk onto her lunch tray. This is cross-contamination. Number 2, Susie fills up her water bottle in her kitchen sink. This is safe for Susie. Number 3, at a buffet, Susie sees a container of rice next to a container of cheese, with only one spoon to share between them. This is cross-contamination. Number 4, at a restaurant, Susie's hamburger is cooked on a grill that is also used for salmon. This is cross-contamination. Number 5, Susie eats the food brought from home, but uses a plastic knife and fork from her school's cafeteria. This is safe for Susie. Number 6, Susie is offered a piece of cake where half the cake has peanuts on top. This is cross-contamination. Reading ingredient lists. Learning to read ingredient lists is important if you or a friend has a food allergy. Common allergens will likely be in bold, but you should still read through the entire list. If the food is processed in a facility with the allergen, it is not a safe food due to the possibilities of cross-contamination like we mentioned before. So let's look at this scenario. Michael wants to share a bag of popcorn with Jack, but Jack is allergic to eggs. Michael checks the ingredient list and sees that the popcorn is free of eggs. Is the popcorn safe for Jack to eat? Explain why or why not. Ingredient list detective. Place a check mark for the allergens that are within the ingredient lists. Our next activity is a game called Find the Allergens. We need to consider the following foods and determine if each food is safe for the character to eat. And be ready to explain your choice as always. This is the ingredient list of a granola bar. Madeline has a peanut allergy. She finds this granola bar in her pantry and wants to have it as her afternoon snack. Should Madeline eat this granola bar? Explain why or why not. Attendees should discuss the answer and share them with the whole group. Madeline cannot eat this granola bar because while there are no peanuts in its ingredient list, it is made in a facility that processes peanut products, so there is a chance of cross-contamination with peanuts. Jenny wants to buy these cookies for her brother's birthday. Her brother is turning 5 years old and he has celiac disease. Should Jenny buy these cookies for her brother? Explain why or why not. The answer is that Jenny should not buy these cookies for her brother to eat. The second ingredient in these cookies is enriched flour, and flour contains wheat. Jenny's brother has celiac, meaning he is allergic to gluten, the protein found in wheat. Ioana has a dairy allergy. She wants to make a pizza using this cheese she found at Whole Foods. Can Ioana eat this cheese on her pizza? This dairy-free cheese doesn't have milk in its ingredient list and is made in a facility free of milk, so it is safe for Ioana to eat. George has a dairy allergy. He asks his mom to buy him this Lunchable and promises that he'll eat the pizza without the cheese. Should George's mom still buy him this Lunchable? George should not eat this Lunchable. Dairy is found in milk and cheese, which are both ingredients in this product. Even if George doesn't eat the cheese, there is still cross-contact between the cheese and other items in the Lunchable because they are in the same package. When having conversations about food allergies with your peers, it's important to be understanding and respectful towards people with food allergies. Don't encourage them to try a food with their allergen in it. And don't make them feel like an outsider because of their allergy. Don't tell them what they're missing out on by not eating a specific food. And most importantly, do not tease or bully them for their allergy, or be a bystander to bullying in any situation. You should understand that their allergy is a medical condition and not a choice, and ask about the specifics of their allergy in a polite manner if they're willing to talk about it. Always try your best to accommodate their allergies at gatherings or parties. These posters show some things that you should and shouldn't say to a person with food allergies, and what they may want to tell you. Winona has celiac disease and she wants to eat cereal for breakfast today. She finds this cereal in her kitchen and thinks it seems safe for her to eat. Should Winona eat these Cheerios? Winona should not eat these Cheerios. Even though the Cheerios are labeled gluten-free, there was no mention of the facilities that they were produced in, so we don't know whether there was cross-contamination with gluten. It's always better to take precautions and make sure a product is free of allergens and cross-contamination. A food allergy is when the body's immune system reacts to food allergens that are typically harmless to most people. There are big 8 allergens that are extremely common in children and adults. Some symptoms of an allergic reaction include rashes and hives and difficulty breathing. If someone is having an allergic reaction around you, you should notify an adult and call 911 immediately. Cross-contamination with allergens can result in an allergic reaction for many people. Learning to read food labels and ingredient lists can be greatly helpful to someone with food allergies or someone in your family with food allergies. Lastly, treat people with food allergies with kindness and respect, as you should be treating everybody. This is our food allergy foldable activity. We will be making a foldable to show what we learned about food allergies. The materials needed are 2 sheets of paper, they can be colored or plain, a stapler, markers, crayons or pens, or any other coloring utensils, and your creativity.
Foldable, which has many uses. It is a great way to organize your information, to keep your notes, and to study later. They are really simple. All you need is 3 sheets of paper and some glue or staples. So what you do is you take your 3 sheets of paper and you line them up so they are about 1 finger width apart. And get those all even. And then we just fold it over and line it up again, and then create your crease. Now we have 5 tabs, and you can go through and insert glue in the folds or staples. And there's many things you can do with it. For example, if I was trying to make a foldable about polygons, I could write polygons as my title, and each tab write different types of polygons, a square, a triangle, and so on. And you can create foldables with more tabs using more paper or less tabs with less paper. And it's a great way to learn.
This is the conclusion of the food allergy education webinar. Thank you everyone for attending, and I hope you learned information from this presentation and you'll use it to help your friends and peers with food allergies in school and outside. Visit allergiesforkids.com to learn more about food allergies and food allergy safety.